So early in the morning I come take the dogs out. Good morning. Say good morning to the horses. Come back here. As you can hear, Sriracha is awake. Wants to get up. But I guarantee you, the hens do not want to get up. Morning time. We had a meteor shower last night. And it was so pretty. I was actually up and was able to see some of it. Gotta fix the tarping, because the tarping is a big mess. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, Sriracha. So they are fed, but I think when the light gets better, I'll show you what I'm going to be doing inside. Today I've got to get these hung, but I've got some inside structural things that I need to do. It is cold, and it looks like I left my herbs outside on the back patio. Gosh darn it. Yep. I left them out there. The last of my summer. We need to get these out and harvest today. They sure are pretty though, aren't they? Hey everyone, welcome to this crazy old kitchen. Have you ever had a time of year, and usually mine lands in about April and October, where you do your spring cleaning, fall cleaning, like organize everything, but you've got 17 other things going on? That's me today. I've got to get my garlic processed because I used all the frozen garlic that we did the last time. I've got to get some onions processed. Let me turn the TV off. And I have got bread that I am trying to make. So typically on these kinds of days, I'll usually put the TV on just because it soothes the dogs. The dogs don't bark over every little thing that they hear, and especially with me moving things around and stuff like that, they bark a lot. So I've got my bread cooking, 2 of my loaves cooking. I've got 1 more loaf to cook. And I've got my garlic that I need to get processed. I've got to fill the paper towel. I've got my cabinets cleaned out. Let me show you. I've got my cabinets cleaned out. I'm working on the drawers. I've got to get all of these. You ever have those tumblers that just sit around and like collect area? And then I've got all of my jars, well, some of my jars that I need to match lids with and get in the garage so I can get them out of my cabinets. With the video that you saw this morning of me starting my day off, it starts pretty early, and I try to get everything done that I can when my husband is out of town. Like I said, he's a week here, a week away, a week here, a week away. And so when he's away, I try to get as much done as my neurotic self can get done, because if things are not clean, if things are not organized, if things are not picked up, it kind of drives me a little crazy. And when he's home, I like to try and spend as much time with him as I can. So it kind of leaves everything else to the week when he gets back, aside from, basic cleaning. But this is what we're doing today. So I do have 2 recipes I need to get done later on today. I need to get my breakfast muffins done. I'm going to do a carrot zucchini protein muffin that I'm going to freeze. And then I'm also going to do some strawberry chocolate chip granola bars for my daughter. Because if you remember seeing my rounder of snacks, those Cliff bars are so expensive. So I'm going to try and make her something that hopefully she'll like, but we'll see. Either way, someone will eat them in the house, and let's get this started or continued and carry on. I'm using my small little, I think this is actually my oldest daughter's, juicer blender, smoothie blender, whatever it's called, because I didn't want to get out my big blender from the garage. So I hope that this works. If it doesn't, then I'll be cleaning 2 things today. But I did get all this garlic. There was a sale at Whole Foods for organic garlic, so I went and grabbed a whole bunch. And then I've got to get mine planted today as well. The projects that we're going to try and tackle when my daughter gets home from school, because I do need her help, are going to be the garage, or the barn. I have a portion of the barn that I want to try and remove and get opened up. Our mare, the younger mare, Bluebell, when I show you the barn, I'll show you what she did, but she got her foot stuck, her hoof stuck in the gate that I have on the inside of the barn that separates their area from all the feed and everything. These horses, if you have horses, they literally eat anything all day long and think that once they're done eating that they're dying of starvation. So they are just not the brightest. I love horses, but they really are dumb. They are just the best thing in the whole world. I love the fact that we're able to have them, but they are just not bright. Get that a little bit. My hands are wet. They're just not bright. But I truly wouldn't have it any other way if there were an option. All right, so I got the big boy out, and we're going to go ahead and get this garlic all processed, and that way I can get it in the freezer, and I'm set for at least that much garlic, maybe a month. So I think I'm going to try this a different way. I think I'm actually going to put it in a jar, put it in some oil, and either stick it in the fridge or the freezer. Since I go through it so fast, and there's not a whole lot here, I'm going to try that. And then the next time I got this filled. That's the garlic. I think that was 5 heads of garlic, 4 or 5 heads of garlic. So I went ahead and put some olive oil in here, and I'm just gonna stick this in the fridge and kind of see how it goes, see how the taste does. But it smells so. All right, so the next thing I've got is some shallots. I'm still gonna use my blender just to see the consistency that it comes out when I use the low disc chopping mechanism, just to see if this works. Otherwise, I am probably gonna have to get a chopper, because I've got a lot I'm realizing that I'm processing and putting in the freezer, and it's just too much with my hands the way that they are. So we'll see. I left paper on. But paper can be picked up. That is fantastic. All right, so now we are going to do our white onions. I'm going to do the same thing since it went really well with the shallots and just stick them in the processor. All right, so this was 4 white onions, sweet onions, and 4 shallots. So this is all individually wrapped into serving sizes. With Thanksgiving coming up, with Christmas coming up, this is going to make cooking a lot easier, especially for those of us who do all the cooking. So I'm going to get these in freezer bags and double freezer bag them and then stick them in the freezer so we're set to go. All right, so the next thing that I need to do today is process all of my basil. Now, I did leave it outside last night. It is starting to flower, seed, so it has stopped producing. I did leave it outside all day today, but it's getting late. The sun's about to go down, so I'm going to try and it hasn't gotten bitter yet. Typically, when your basil is exposed to too much cold, obviously it'll start to shrivel up, it'll stop producing, but it'll also taste bitter. It does not taste bitter yet, so I need to get this done today. Basically, all I'm going to do is take all of the leaves off, and with an exception of their little sprouts, and give the rest to the chickens, and then all of the I'm going to do the same thing that I did with my sage. I'm going to let it sit out, and then I will put it in a jar, and that way I have dried basil. And I'm just going to stick this in the oven with the light on, just so it has a little heat. And continue on. I think I do have a mint plant in here with this one. I think I'm going to try and transplant that. The mint. Do mint as well. So I'm going to put this over here. And that way that dries. And then I'm going to put some mint right here. Now your mint plants are perennials. Basil is not, but your mint is. You always, if you're planting mint, you want to be careful with planting it in a spot where you want it controlled, because mint will take over. And so putting it in pots is usually the best thing to do with mint, unless you've got a large area that you're okay with it taking over. All right, that one's going to go in the oven as well. And they'll just sit there for a couple of days. So next we are going to make our chewy discard granola bars, and we're going to be putting in semi-sweet morsels and some freeze-dried strawberries. I didn't make them myself because I couldn't find any good strawberries because they're not really in season. So I'm going to try these and see if those work. So let's do it. All right, so in a bowl, we are going to put half a cup peanut butter, and I'm just measuring by eyeball. I keep my peanut butter in the fridge. I used to keep it out in the cabinet, but my husband said no, you're supposed to put it in the refrigerator. So that looks like about a half a cup. Okay. And then we are going to do 2/3 cup honey. And I always use local honey because it helps with allergies. Okay, so what we've got in here is a half a cup of peanut butter and 2/3 cup of honey. Next, we're going to go ahead and put in our half a cup, 1 stick of melted butter. Now, because the butter is melted, it is definitely going to go ahead and bind all of this together and help warm up and loosen up that peanut butter. Or if you do keep your peanut butter in the refrigerator and it doesn't help loosen it up, you can definitely put it back into the microwave, but make sure that you try to incorporate as much as possible so that butter doesn't burn. And this did a pretty good job of it. Stop. All right. All right, so we're looking for that, but a little bit smoother. So I'm going to keep mixing this, and then we're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla and a half a teaspoon of salt. Knock it off. All right. We've got a teaspoon of vanilla and a half a teaspoon of salt. Come on. Get that mixed up. All right, now for our discard, and we're going to put in about 1/3 of a cup. The one measuring cup I actually have. And this is fed. I am rising some more discard so I can make some more sourdough. So you can use fed or unfed discard. And we are going to bake this. Don't worry. I know some granolas you don't bake, but because it's got the benefits in here of the sourdough, we're going to make sure that we do bake it. You've got your oven preheating at 350. And that's what we're looking for. Okay. Next, we are going to put in our rolled oats. Now, with your oats, you do not want to use quick oats or instant oats. You want to make sure they're rolled. That way they don't get mushy. And for this, we're going to do 3.5 cups. And again, I'm going to measure with my hand. Uh-oh. All right, so there's about 1, 2, 3.5. Okay. Get that all mixed in. I think I'm actually going to put this in a smaller. It says a 9 by 13, but I feel like this could go into a 9 by 9, possibly even an 8 by 8. All right, we are going to put in our mini chips. About 3/4 cup. Can never have too many chocolate chips. And then freeze-dried strawberries. All right. All right, so this is my 9 by 13. I think I'm going to get a smaller one. Smaller. This is about a 9 by 9. All right. And the reason why I'm lining my pan or my baking dish is so I can just lift it out and not have to worry about anything sticking. Okay. All right. Get that all mushed in. And basically all you're going to do is just flatten it out really evenly. Now, before you bake it, let's get some wax paper. And let's make sure that this is compacted. So really smush it down. All right. And there you go. We're going to stick that in the oven again at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so that is going to go in the oven again at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Excuse me, 25 to 30 minutes. And then you're going to put it in the refrigerator. You're going to let it, once it cools and comes to room temperature, then you're going to put it in the refrigerator for about 2 hours so it can chill. Then you can cut and serve, store in the refrigerator for up to a week. And hopefully your kids will like it. We'll see how it turns out. Alrighty, it is the next morning, and as you can tell by my sweatshirt, I just got in from feeding the horses and letting the chickens and the dogs out. I've got hay everywhere, which is not unlike me. It's usually stuck in my hair. But anyway, so these have been chilled overnight, and we're just going to go ahead and take them out of the baking dish and cut them to whatever size that you want. Now, remember that you can play with the flavors. You can use M&Ms, you can use nuts, you can use blueberries, whatever kind of flavor combination you want. What I will say is I probably would add a little bit more honey than I did, just to make it a little bit more solidified. It is a little crumbly. Not as crumbly. It's still chewy. It's still really good. And I did get a text from my daughter telling me that she loves them. So it is a win. Get some actual good food into her as opposed to processed food from the grocery store.
Now, I hope you guys try this. It is super yummy. Play around with the different recipes and always remember to like and subscribe. Your subscriptions are greatly appreciated, and I'm very, very thankful for you guys joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day.